Alright, before we get down to the nitty gritty of my last 75 book challenge check-in, let me explain something on my previous reading log. I rounded the challenge to the nearest week, so that's why the amount of days surpasses the 75. I didn't like how the challenge finishes in like the middle of the week, so I just rounded to the next, hence September 1st. I forgot to leave a note for myself to remind me that we're rounding up August and then cutting the cord on September 1st, so that was fun figuring that out. But anywho, onto our regular scheduled program. Alright, we are due for the last 75 book challenge check-in, which is 75 hard but for readers. I'm kind of sad that this challenge is over. So in total, I completed 8 books. So I basically completed 80% of my physical TBR challenge because I wanted to read 10 books this year. So 8 books in 3 months. Last year, I completed 7 books out of 10. But again, out of the entire year, I was able to freaking beat it in 3 months. So let's talk about my entire journey overall. At first, it was super hard. I was trying to figure out how to get my groove. Sitting down was like the hardest part out of all of it. And also not trying to touch my phone. Like at first, sitting down for 45 minutes straight of nonstop reading, it was bugging me so much. And I honestly didn't want to do it. That's like watching a whole episode of Law and Order and you just can't sit still. And that's when I started to get the idea of like habit stacking or like doing a hobby while reading. So that's why in like my earlier videos, you saw me like listening to an audiobook and like crocheting or doing color by number. And that helped me a lot in the beginning stages. And definitely vlogging and showing you my progress once a week was definitely the move because trying to do it daily, I was struggling to try and post my video right before midnight. Like literally, I was half an hour early. Like trying to do a daily vlog just gave me a whole new respect for vloggers. It's really rough and there's like a lot of work into it. And then once I was 2 weeks in, almost 3, that's when I started to get my groove and I didn't mind just like reading the physical book and without the help of the audiobook. 3 of my books didn't have the audiobook available in my library anyway, so that helped me a lot to sit down longer. Now that I was able to like sit down, read the physical book, I didn't mind reading like 4 hours nonstop. Like in fact, I wanted to go longer, but again, I wanted to pace myself so that way I wouldn't risk having a reading slump. And that was hands down the best move that I made because I genuinely think that I would have thrown in the towel halfway. Now I'm going to show you the stats of my reading log. So this is my 2025 reading tracker. So this is before I started the challenge. I started the challenge on June 18th and then look how much progress I made. And then let's take a look at the 2024 reading log and look how much I was struggling throughout the year. And then let's look at them side by side. So I made a significant improvement in comparison to last year. So by the time July came around, I was already in my groove and I also noticed some like internal things. My mood has improved significantly and I was also very productive in not only in my habits, but also in my writing production. You guys saw my 20-day countdown of me trying to finish my second novel, Tinker's Unraveling's first draft. Like I was pumping out like on average 1,500 words a day. So that has helped me out health-wise and also creative-wise. Now the buying ban. I kept a mental note on how much I had in the bank, and then I went back today to check and see how much I saved. The results was shocking. And so once I picked my jaw up from the floor, I'm like, yeah, we're not buying shit else. Which is what I'll say later after I visit the book fair that's coming into town next month. So guess who has spending money? So the lingering question is, would I do this challenge again? Absolutely. I'd say that if you are ever interested in doing this challenge, I would say do this either in the summer, if not the spring. I wouldn't recommend doing this in the fall because of the holidays, and that's like prime spending time. And that's also around the time when a lot of books gets published. I definitely enjoyed this challenge, and every time I pick up a book, it just reminded me time and time again why I love reading so much. But anywho, that concludes me doing the 75 book challenge, which is 75 hard but for readers. I think next summer I'm going to do this challenge again, but the catch is I'll only read my thick babies.